Yes, so that is why Bhagavad Gita has become very popular that way, because of its simple nature also. The way and it's also, you see, there are only majority two kind of chandas that are there, right? There's one chandas which is like this, which breaks into two, and then one chandas which is 4 lines, right? So 2 lines, one chandas, and 4 lines, one chandas. Largely, these are the two simple chandas that you have. Unless if you take Subramanya Bhujangam. Subramanya Bhujangamla, you see it's it's crazy. The kind of chandas you will have, different chandas within the Bhujangam itself. 20, I think about 21, 22 verses. But that, there are multiple chandas that come into play. So Bhagavad Gita has been quite what Krishna has spoken to Arjuna. He's tried to speak to him. He's tried to bring the most complex of philosophies in the most easiest of ways. That was the idea. Idea that Krishna had. One of the reasons why he conveyed it also so simply is because although he knew the person standing here is a very, very highly intellectual person, right? Intellectually very capable. But he didn't give him the Brahma Sutra, right? Take the Brahma Sutra, 555 or 545 slokas of verses of Brahma Sutra. It's very complicated. It's not easy to comprehend that way. He's made it like statements, and which is why the other thing you will notice in Bhagavad Gita is also many phrases or verses that Bhagavan has mentioned also repeat in many places. It will feel like, oh, he's already told it. Adhe solitare, adan solliyache abdin irukum. Right? It's not that the 700 are non-repeating. Many places where he repeats himself. And also repeating himself because he wants to make it simple to Krishna. Repeat the same ideas. If there are very specific ideas that are impactful ideas, he wants to repeat it a few times. Like we always say, right? Second chapter is enough for Arjuna. But why 16 other chapters? Because he's expanding slowly, trying to tell him in simple words and communicating the ideas. And look at the questions also are very simple questions he's asking. So Arjuna is here. He is now in awe of this person who is Krishna, who's standing after all these the 9 chapters that of discourse that Krishna has given him, primarily from the second chapter, closure of the first chapter, and up until now, Krishna has been giving him so many viewpoints on Karma Yoga, Sannyasa Yoga, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. He's been introducing him to different kinds of Sankhya. He's been introducing him to different kinds of approaches and how to look at various things in life, in one's life. And so now he's come to a point, like we again discussed the last week. Arjuna has come to a point where he is now in a way convinced that this person is no ordinary person and I need to listen to him. I need to acknowledge him as somebody above normal. And I need to pay attention and ask make the maximum of this opportunity that has now come. See, a lot of times we also go through these things, right? We will realize that there are times when, and also remember that Krishna and Arjuna, they're not coming together for the first time here. Okay. They have been together for several years. Right? They've known each other, they've been with each other for several years. And Krishna was always held by Arjuna in a place of respect and regard. As this person is a wise person, he knows what he's talking about, and he has some amount of clarity of thought and perception. So Arjuna has always regarded Krishna that way. But now, look at what is happening to Arjuna. He's looking at Krishna in a very different light. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Param Paramam Bhavan. So he says in the previous verse, right? He's in the 15th verse, when 15th, or which one is that? He says,
12th Param
yes,
Brahma Param Dhama
Param Brahma, Parandhama, Pavitram Paramam
Pavitram
Bhavan.
Paramam Bhavan.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. So he is giving him that, suddenly elevating Krishna to a position of much greater than normal. He always knew that Krishna was something different, somebody who was respectable, but now it's a further more elevation in his perception that he's seeing Krishna as. And when this happens, we also will want to listen to what this person is now saying. And you want to engage in more conversations. அந்த இடத்துல கிருஷ்ணா இஸ் லைக் ஏதோ கடக்கட்டும் மகாபாரதம் அப்படின்னு he's he's forgotten about the war. Now he's so engrossed in what Krishna is saying. And it feels like
இல்ல
music.
அவரும் சொல்லி பாக்குறாரு, வந்து எடுத்து சண்டை போடுவானான்னு பாக்குறாரு.
ஆமா.
ஒண்ணுன்னா சாப்டர் ஆர்டர் பண்ணிட்டே போறாரு அவரு.
so so he's constantly providing that this thing, and he's saying yudhyasva bharata, get up and fight. He's telling him
உத்திஷ்ட சொல்றாரு.
uttishta, uttishta ன்னு சொல்லுவார், yudhyasva, go and fight. So you'll say all that, but despite that, Arjuna is now so engrossed into what Krishna is saying, and he's like, and is in this joy. Now, what has happened? Notice, see, we can just read the meaning of these lines and move on. Okay, Krishna is telling, what Arjuna is telling here, we can move on. But I'm wanting us to appreciate the condition of Arjuna, which is our condition at times. And when you appreciate this condition of Arjuna, you will be able to relate to this thing that he's going through. And in our state of dhyana, in our state of meditation or contemplation, we'll be able to imbibe this. We'll be able to resonate and recognize these things that is happening. So what is happening to Arjuna here? He is now forgetting all worldly things. He is a warrior, he is a kshatriya, he is a, in many ways, he is called what? He is called Savyasachi, he is called Dhananjaya, right? He is called all these names. Arjuna has about 11 to 12 names. In this Bhagavad Gita itself, he's been addressed by about 11 to 12 names by Krishna, right? So Anagha, right? He's called by different names. So
நிறைய இதுலயே வந்து இப்ப குடாகேஷ,
Gudakesha,
தனஞ்சய,
correct.
அப்புறம்
Dhananjaya,
the scorcher என்ன சொல்றது,
Parantapa, scorcher,
பரந்தப
Parantapa,
பரந்தப பரந்தப
Parantapa,
பாரத.
Amma, Partha. Anyways, Partha is something that we know. So these are, if we count, there are about, I probably did that once, I remember. It came around about a dozen, right? About 11, 12 names that came out to. But remember, so those are also, he's qualified as a kshatriya, as a warrior who's known by so many different qualifications. But he's dropping all that. He's dropping all that here, and he's just looking at this person. He's completely awestruck and looking at this person who's this Madhava, Keshava, Narayana, who's standing there and just enjoying what he's talking. Right? The Gandiva that fell from his hand is still on the ground. He's not picked it up yet. Okay, although Krishna has told Yudhyasva Bharata, Uttishta Bharata, and all that, he didn't pick up the Gandiva there. It's still lying on the floor. Right? And then he is just looking at this person, and world has come to a standstill for him. Now, this needs to happen in Shravanam. When we do any kind of Shravana, we should be engrossed in this way. This, be it Shravanam of an Upanyasam, or a scripture, or Nama Sankirtanam, whenever we are engaged in any of these kind of devotional activities, we should be engrossed in this way. So standing right in the middle of the battlefield, he is completely in his consciousness, the whole battlefield is dissolved. There's nobody there. He's got nothing to do. He's not doing, he's got no identity. He's got no reference point now. He's completely engrossed in the Shravana. And he is telling Krishna, you tell me, you keep speaking, you keep telling me. And this is so beautiful to listen to. We spoke about last week also, right? How just by listening, one can get into slowly that state of meditation. So he is going into that slowly, and he is also now finding the joy, the rasa, vachanamrutam, vachana amrutam. It is called as vachanamrutam. He is experiencing vachanamrutam, the vakya or the vachanas that are coming from Keshava, from Krishna. It is like amrutam for him at that moment. Now, this is something that we can also experience when we listen to any we listen to a lot of YouTube talks, we listen to a lot of, or we go attend sessions and classes, or we sit in a bhajana, in a goshti, or we sit in some chanting sessions. The mind should be focused on that, and then we will be able to experience the rasa, right? Arjuna is not checking his mobile phone and WhatsApp intermittently. he's not he's not getting distracted and doing other things also, right? He is, because this is a Gudha Shastra. It is called a Gudha Shastra because it is a secret. It is secret knowledge, and it is also sacred knowledge. Sacred not because it is in Sanskritam or because Krishna has said, not sacred because of that. It is sacred because of the nature of it. The nature of it is to help you turn your mind inwards. Anything that helps you turn your mind inwards within you is sacred. And why is it secret? Secret because it is not freely given to anybody. There is an adhikaratvam that needs to be established. One needs to be an adhikari to receive this knowledge and understanding. Right? Although Ramanuja went on to the rooftop and shouted Om Namo Narayana out of compassion, out of complete compassion. But there are rahasyas. He himself will acknowledge in several places where this knowledge is also a rahasya. There are rahasyas that are, so there is rahasya trayam, there are ashtadasa rahasyas by Pillai Lokacharya, there is rahasya trayam by Vedanta Desika. Although this Ramanuja himself gave Om Namo Narayana to everybody. So who are you to call this rahasyas and all that? Rahasya doesn't mean that it's not to be given. Rahasya means it is to be given to somebody who is really yearning for it. So maybe in that position, in the situation where Ramanuja was there, and that he was the voice of the masses there at that time, he felt the consciousness of the masses was yearning for something. He probably experienced that, and then he went and said, just chant Om Namo Narayana and you will be liberated. So he let out a rahasya that way, which is Guru had told it was a rahasya, but because of his compassion, and he probably experienced that there are so many suffering people, I want to elevate them. He did that out of his compassion. But other times it wouldn't be the same. It was a moment of explosion that it happened within him. So this knowledge is sacred and secret, which means it needs to be attended to. We need to pay attention, otherwise it will just be words. If the purpose of the words, the intention of the words, or the lakshyartha of the words have to go hit the lakshyam. Where is the lakshya? Where is the lakshya? The lakshana or the lakshya is inside me. So the words have to hit that. It has to hit that substance which is inside me. Whatever name we give it. So the Lakshya Artha has to go and reside. For that, I have to channel my attention. If the attention is channelized, then something will go inside and it will do its work. So now Arjuna has become that now. Arjuna has become that recipient. He's become a true recipient. And Krishna is telling, now I will completely give away all my glories. I will show you all the glories that nobody has had the experience, nobody has had the privilege to see or experience. People have done many years of tapas and many janmas of tapas. People have done different kinds of tapasya to get this knowledge and this vision that I'm going to explain to you. I am giving it to you freely because now I see you have channeled your attention to me. So the other important thing to note is the attention. What is our duty in this whole process is to bring that focus and attention. Meditation doesn't have to necessarily mean I have to sit down, keep my spine erect and close my eyes and sit for 30 minutes. Some people may be able to do that. Some people may not be able to do that. But if you are able to sit in a Nama Sankirtanam, sit there fully with full attention. Even if it is 30 minutes, tell yourself 30 minutes, I'm going to sit here. If you're in a chanting session, saying, give myself 30 minutes, I'm going to sit here. That is okay. We don't all have to sit and meditate. If you're paying attention to any of these activities that you're doing, that is meditation. And we are opening up a channel. So when that channel opens up, then grace, understanding, knowledge, all of it will flow. Okay. So he says, Vaktum arhasya sheshena. So he is telling him in the 16th verse, Vaktum arhasya sheshena divya hyatma vibhutayah yabhir vibhuti bhirlokan tvam imams tvam vyapyatishtasi. Vaktum arhasi asheshena. Oh Lord, please tell me or describe to me completely. Asheshena. Shesha means there must be a reminder, a remainder. A remainder means it is Shesha. Ashesha, which means without a remainder. Divya hyatma vibhutayah. About all your great glories. You please describe them to me. Yabhihi vibhutibhihi lokan, in by which vibhuti or the glories you pervade all of this creation. Imam tvam vyapya tishtasi. You pervade and reside in all of these worlds. Lokan, by which glories that you reside here, please describe those to me. Katham vidyamaham yogin tvam sada parichintayan keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavanmaya. Katham vidyam aham yogim, which means by what means do I think about you always. Sada parichintayan. Keshu cha bhaveshu, in what different kinds of emotions or thoughts, bhaveshu or forms, chintyosi bhagavan maya, may I be, you be thought by me. How can I think, in what ways can I think about you, O Bhagavan? Right? Because see, he is again an intelligent bhakta and intelligent devotee. Intelligent means now he has realized the importance of the message or the knowledge he is receiving, and now he is telling, can you tell me in what all ways I can think about you? Because he knows that at some point he has to get back to his normal routine. See, we also know that when we sit in a Bhagavan Nama or some kind of Sankirtanam, we are sitting, we also know that this will get over. We are sitting in a satsang, we know it will get over and I have to get back to my normal duties. So as much as it is so nice to listen to it, how do I carry it forward? He's asking. Which means, how does it not drop out at the end of the 700 shlokas? Assuming the 700 verses were back and forth, it takes what, 3.5 hours, right? When we chant, we know when you do a full Bhagavad Gita session, it takes about 3 to 3.5 hours. So assuming at the end of 3 or 3.5 hours, I would need to continue this process that I'm experiencing now. So what are the ways in which I think about you, Bhagavan? So he's asking Krishna. And then he continues to ask, Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutincha janardana. So you in detail, Vistarena. Vistarena means in detail, you describe yogam vibhutim cha. All your glories, divine glories, and all your vibhutihi. Vibhutihi is essentially all the great, um, your great, vibhuti. One word of one meaning of vibhuti is glory. The other way of looking at vibhuti is prowess. Prowess, which means the great potential that you are, which you are expressing, that is also referred to as vibhuti. So explain to me this in detail, O Janardana. Bhuyah kathaya triptihi. Because I am not attaining tripti. He shrinvato nasti me mritam. By listening to you, this amritam. This amritam, by listening to this amritam, I am not getting tired. I'm wanting to listen. This is a very beautiful place to recognize what Arjuna is actually experiencing. Right? Chumma chole. He is not chumma. Chumma, he is not telling Krishna just to please Krishna. Right? This is a real feeling that he is experiencing there. And when somebody is saying in the battlefield, while there is a battle that's waiting, a war has got to be waged, he's saying, I am not tired of listening to you. I have not attained that tripti yet. Which means, and then I have not attained the tripti yet means there are two ways of looking at it. Okay. One is, a lot of times this happens to us. When you're trying to explain something to someone, they may come to a point that how much ever you explain, I'm not able to understand. That is also no tripti. I have not come to a tripti. I'm not satisfied by any of your answers. How much? Then you will go tired. Ayyo, எப்படிதான் சொல்லி புரிய வைக்கிறதோ. Right? How do I now explain to this guy what I'm trying to say? So you get tired of it, right? That happens. This is one way. But of course, a real teacher, a guru, will never get tired. He'll never get tired. I mean, he'll never get tired. Neither will he get tired, nor will he tell that you will not understand. Go. A guru will never say that. Or even a true bhakta, a real devotee, will never tell to another devotee, go, you will not understand. Po, you will not understand. He'll never say that. He'll always take it upon himself to think that maybe I have not been able to express myself clearly. Maybe don't have the acumen to make you understand, or I'm not able to transmit this experience to you. This is what a real bhakta will say. And it's important to note this because in the way we behave with people around, the more we listen and chant and we do these readings, scriptural readings, swadhyaya, we do all of this. As knowledge grows in our mind, you will notice that in the world you will always find people who will come and challenge you. They'll come and challenge you and your knowledge and your understanding of it. The important thing is to develop compassion and, of course, also to receive, because a lot of times when the challenge comes from the outside, you should recognize it's a challenge that is required to be addressed in the inside. Because we don't know when we become rigid. A lot of times we become rigid in our understanding. Yes, Krishna is a great example. You'll always see Krishna in the whole of Mahabharata or Bhagavatam, wherever you read. Is there logic to what Krishna does? Many places you'll find there's no logic really, but then it turns out to be beautiful. It turns out to be a good end. It turns out to be some auspicious ending, because we will not be able to make logic out of it. Why? Because that is what he keeps showing, that be prepared to be challenged. Be prepared to be challenged and have humility in that. Because one, I may not know all of it. That is one way of looking at it. Or two, maybe I really have to think. Maybe it's something from the outside has come. Maybe it is prodding me to think. What am I holding on to so strongly? Maybe I have to think. Maybe I have to loosen a bit. Maybe I have to open myself a little bit to receive it. All of these things are important because we live in a social structure, and this idea that what I think, what I've understood is correct, if everybody holds on to that so strongly, all we will have is conflict in the world, and which is what is there today, right? We see, even though we see the rise of scriptural readings, understanding, satsangs, all of that is happening across the globe, everywhere, YouTubes, this, that, and the other, Instagrams, you get shots, small shots of spiritual talks by so many people. Why is there so much conflict? Why is there so much conflict? If everybody is telling Bhagavad Gita, if you take Bhagavad Gita and go on internet, you just search, you'll see thousands of videos. So everybody is referring to the same text. Why is still there so much conflict? Because of this reason. The reason is there is very little room that we keep within ourselves, that maybe I have to think, maybe I'm holding on to a very strong opinion or understanding which can be loosened a bit, and I can make room for a little more understanding, right? So this, when I'm saying triptihi, when Arjuna is saying I am not getting enough tripti, I'm saying this is one way of looking at it, right? That I am not able to understand what you're saying. But here, the punchline is, he is saying amrutam. He's saying Shrunvato nasti me amrutam, which means this amrita that you are giving me, this nectar that you're giving me, I am not tired of listening to it. That is how it needs to be interpreted here in this context. It is not that Arjuna is not able to understand. Arjuna is able to get it. He's able to understand it. And how do we know that this tripti is not because of he is not able to understand? This tripti, because he's saying this amrutam. What you are delivering to me, O Bhagavan, is amrutam. I am not tired of listening to it. It doesn't feel, I want to keep listening to it. So I want to prod and ask you questions so that you continue speaking. See, that's also one way of looking at why Arjuna is also asking these questions, right? We also have these experiences, and somebody is talking, and maybe the talk is going to come to an end, and you ask a few questions, or we want to engage. We do that, right? It's very so sweet when they're talking. We go and ask them to a few questions. because we want to listen to them talk. That is also reason why Arjuna is probably asking the question, because he wants to continue listening to the Amrita, the Vachana Amrita that Krishna is delivering. Then now comes Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is now saying, now I am 19th verse. He is now coming to the point where he is saying, let me now start explaining to you, because now you have come like a child. You have come like this beautiful vessel which I can start pouring into, right? It is a beautiful vessel, come as a beautiful container or a patra, where I can pour this knowledge and understanding into you, and you will receive it. See, there's one of my friends, when I was at work in Singapore, he would say, because we would have a lot of these discussions, and I'd talk to many people in different conversations within the office and in our friends and family groups and all of that. I would share and discuss a lot of these conversations on spiritual scriptures and all of that. So this guy said, Sudhu, why don't you do podcasts and do this, and you release it like this, put this like that and all. I said, I'm not interested in doing that, right? Because the simple reason is I want to engage with real seekers or sadhakas who are really interested in this engagement, not just because to show someone that, oh, I've read this, I've studied this. No, this is not the whole intention. The intention is for that engagement to occur because there is a seeking, there is a wanting to know, and hence this engagement happens. Otherwise, a lot of times it will not even happen. In fact, one of the sayings I've heard, when the calf comes, only then the milk flows from the cow. Otherwise, the milk doesn't flow. Even if milk is contained in the cow, it will not flow until the calf doesn't come to it. So in that way, this whole idea for Krishna or this thing to happen is not just because I want to show my greatness to you. No, it is because he is sincerely wanting to know. He is sincerely seeking. And then, in fact, here what happens, Krishna himself, although we say Krishna is Paramatma and all of that, this form that Krishna is actually also a channel. You should look at it that way. As much as Arjuna is a channel to receive, Krishna becomes a channel to transmit. This happened between Paul Brenton and Ramana Maharshi. Well, Paul Brenton went to Ramanashrama, he heard a lot of things, and he was writing a book of sages of India, on sages of India. And somebody told there is this great Maharshi, Ramana Maharshi, who lives in Tiruvannamalai. And so he goes there, wants to meet him. And then he sits there and then he's given audience with Bhagavan. But Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi doesn't speak at all. And every day he spends some time sitting with Bhagavan, goes back to his room, sits there again. 3 days he does this. The 4th day he leaves. And the ashramites or the devotees of Ramana ask him, what happened? There's nothing that you spoke. You came with a lot of questions, because when he came in, he said, I have these questions to ask. And you didn't speak anything, and you left. He's saying, I got all my answers. He says, I got all my answers, because the receiving and transmitting was not happening through words. It was happening at a different frequency. Because what happened was Paul Brenton became that pure receiver and Ramana became the pure transmitter. So this Krishna, when he is going to talk all fantastic things. Okay, he is going to say, I am Vivaswan, I was there before the sun, I was there, I am the Mount Meru, I am the Samaveda. All of that he'll talk, and it will seem like stupidity. I mean, what are you talking about? Right? How can you be all of that? But what is happening here is Krishna is becoming this pure transmitter, where he is just transmitting and letting this knowledge flow. And wherever he's saying I, it means consciousness. Whether we call it Paramatma, supreme consciousness, or Brahman, or whatever, it is this consciousness that is flowing through everything, and it is now suddenly flowing in its full glory, full vibhuti through this form that is Krishna. So with this, Bhagavan is starting to explain. He's saying, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Hantate Kathayishyami Divya Atma Vibhutayah Pradhanyatah Kuru Shrestha Nastyanto Vitarasya Me. So he says, I will now briefly describe my divine glories to you, O Kurunandana or Kuru Shrestha, because there is no end to this detailing. Na asti antah vitarasya me. To my extensive glories, or this whole vibhuti that I have, there is no anta. Na asti antah nastyanto vitarasya me. But yet I will give it to you in brief. Okay, he's saying I'll give it to you in brief, which means he's saying that there is no end to describing what I truly am, which is I. Again, we have to recognize this Paramatma, the supreme consciousness, Brahman, that I really is pervading everywhere, right? How do you say? The simple way to say is I am everywhere. Simplest is I am everywhere, finished. But then it's not impactful. The impact of saying I am everywhere is one, but telling that, I am in this laptop, I am in this curtain, I am in this idol, I am in this flower, I am in this rock. You keep saying that again, I am here, I am here, I am here, I am here. You keep saying that. It is almost like hypnotizing the mind. It is like hypnotizing the mind that wherever you are turning, I am there. So Krishna is kind of, in the next few shlokas, he's going to hypnotize Arjuna to see, I am in this. You look at Surya, I am there. You look at Chandra, I am there. If you look at the mountains, I am there. You look at the grass, I am there. You look at the trees, I am there. You look at this man, I am there. Woman, child, old person. So, and then he's saying, I'm the best amongst everything. Why? Again, we spoke about why the best. Because he's wanting to elevate your mind. He's wanting you to think that this, whatever is this vast creation that is there, and everything that has been, anything that you see has been explored and exploded to the fullest potential, that I am. So he's saying, all of this, how can I explain it to you? Time achiva warku poganum. So Krishna is not forgetting that. Although Arjuna has suddenly forgotten all that. He said, I'll briefly explain to you. No? So he says, Hantayate kathishyami divya hyatma vibhutayah pradhayantah, salient, which means briefly, kurushrestha nastyanto vitarasya me. And then we close with the 20th verse today. He says, Ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhuta shayasthitah. Sarvabhuta ashayasthitah. Aham adi cha madhyam cha bhutanam anta eva cha. I am at the beginning, I am at the middle, I am at the end. Aham atma gudakesha. I am what you call as Atma. Sarvabhuta ashaya sthitah. I am the Narayana situated in your heart. Which means I am the one resting in your heart. Sthitah, Ashaya Sthitah. I am the one in all the Sarva Bhuta, in all the living forms. I am that which is resting within you, which is the source of all, source of everything. That is in that form. I am within you as this Atma. You call this Atma, whatever you're within you. There is something that you say is this uh, this untangible life force of some kind that is within me. That is me. Aham Adihi, Aham Madhyam, Aham Antah Bhutanam. In all Bhutaha, I am the Adi, Madhya, Anta, Evacha. So I am existing in all of this Bhuta. I am resting there. I am the start, which means at the start of your creation, I was there. When you were formed as a zygote in your mother's womb, when the sperm and the egg and the ova came together and the cell was formed, I was there. I am there right now in the madhya of your life. I will be there when your what you call as this ends. So there's a recognition of your starting, your middle, and your end. I am there, and I am also there in the pralaya, which means in the laya sthiti, I am the Narayana who is resting on this Adi Sesha. I am resting on the what is there as the Sesha. I am the Sesha. I am the balance. I am the remainder of everything that is, even after destruction, what remains is me. Right? So he says, I am this whole creation that you're experiencing within you and outside of you. So in the two verses, he is telling, I will start explaining the glories. And the first thing he is saying, as I am existing in all bhuta outside of you and also as your Atma inside of you. Right? So he says, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Ashaya Sthitah Aham Adi Aham Madhyam Aham Adischa Madhyancha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. Right? So I am in through all of this that you experience as existence. And then he will start slowly. So Krishna is entering into the heart of Arjuna. He's slowly entering into the heart of Arjuna, and he'll give him the Divya Drishti to experience the Vishwarupa Darshanam. Slowly he will get him there. All of this preparation is required. For you to be able to experience Bhagavan in his fullest glory, you can't just, I can't just finish off work and then run home and then see, okay, Bhagavan, I want to see you. It will not work. It doesn't work like that. You have to get into that process. Slowly, you have to bring yourself into a place where you're able to experience this. Otherwise, it will be wasted on you. It will be like Bhagavan will show his full glory and you won't be able to experience it also. It's like raining and you've got a raincoat or an umbrella. What will happen? You'll not get a single drop of water on you. Right? So slowly Bhagavan is bringing Arjuna into this. We will also journey along with Arjuna. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendrayirva Buddhyatmana Va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanaayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikayeti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti Samarpayami. Hari Om Tat Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanam. Hari Om.
हरि ओम।